wants to admit that they're a basic beginner? No one. In this video, we are going to show you how important it is to learn some foundational sewing skills in order for your projects to go smoothly. Hey, I'm Jess, and I've been sewing since I was, how old? About 6. About 6? When you taught me. Thanks, Mom.
And hi there, I'm the mom.
She's Kathy.
In this video, we are going to talk about foundational sewing skills and why they are so important.
I am so glad we're doing this video because I have seen sewing tutorials and I don't remember anyone mentioning foundational sewing skills. The videos always seem to be focused on the project or specifically the sewing part of the project. So Kathy, can you tell us what some foundational skills actually are?
Sure, foundational skills are very focused on specific techniques that make the actual sewing or quilting process easier and, if you will, seamless. Let's just identify some of those skills. While there are loads of areas of sewing and quilting to learn, I'd like to talk about the big 3 that I think everyone should focus on learning before they start any projects. First, let's talk about cutting accurately and confidently. So often we see people having trouble because they don't know which tools to choose or how to use them. They make lots of mistakes. They waste their fabrics, the pieces don't fit together easily, and sometimes they have serious accidents with their tools that send them to the emergency department.
Really? People end up in the emergency department because they don't know how to use this?
Yes, they do.
What?
That's a rolling razor blade. We do joke not to worry if you cut yourself, just as long as you don't get blood on your fabric.
Don't bleed on the
But
fabric.
It's really serious.
Oh my. Isn't sewing and quilting just like a mathematical puzzle? And the pieces need to nest perfectly together to have that successful project, right? If things don't fit, you either have to throw away your whole project, or you keep squaring up and cutting down until you have the quilt blocks the size of a postage stamp, or a dress that will fit a doll, not you.
That's a great visual concept.
So I can definitely see that cutting accurately is number 1. What's next?
The next one is knowing your machine and how it works.
I agree. We see so many people close to tears in the shop who think their machines hate them. It doesn't hate you, trust us. Or worse yet, they go to someone else for a repair when really their bobbin was just in wrong, or they missed their take-up lever.
Yep, just a little knowledge from a person who really knows machines can change that. I'll use us as an example. We both sew lots, but sewing doesn't make us machine experts. I drive a car and I can make it go, but that's about all.
Oh, I never thought about that before. Just because you drive a car doesn't make you a mechanic.
We are both constantly taking classes on how to do a lot of things with our machines, but that still doesn't mean that we know the insides of our machine and how it works. I've been trained by Pfaff to tear apart machines and really understand how they work. For over 20 years, I have been diagnosing what ails people's machines. I've learned a lot from seeing all the problems people have, and often, sad to say, it's not the machine, it's the user. And you, Jess, how many hours did you spend listening to me talking about machines and then at FIT learning all about all kinds of sewing equipment and how it works?
Oh yeah, I had so many classes at the Fashion Institute of Technology that lasted semesters, even whole years, talking about machine equipment.
So that combination of sewing, being trained on repairs, and seeing many machine problems over the past 20 years means we have loads of knowledge that we want to pass on so no one is saying nasty words to their machines.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so is there anything else that is really necessary for that person who's just getting started to know? What's our other foundation?
The third one is pressing.
Pressing!
You have heard me more times than you can count.
I have.
Say, Grandma always said to spend
more times at the ironing board than you do at your sewing machine, and things will be perfect.
Exactly. Fabric stretches, especially when it's damp and fibers are filled with moisture, then all kinds of bad things can happen.
Yep, squares aren't square, seams that are pressed open don't stay open, they kind of do this thing where they pop back.
So in class, we review when to use steam, when to use a dry iron, how to coax your fabrics back into shape, and so much more.
Wow. That actually kind of seems a little intense, but now that you mention it, all of those things make so much sense. And they're all things my professors at FIT taught us time and time again. Rarely, though, do we actually see patterns, books, or other instructional videos that discuss these topics in detail. A lot of times patterns just gloss over those skills and they say, hey, now you're gonna press this. Well, what does that mean? These are the behind the seams techniques that separate the beginners, or sometimes even the people who've been sewing for quite a long time, from the people who took the time to focus on the foundational skills instead of just getting another project done, right?
I couldn't have said that any better. At the start of the video, we said we would also explain why foundational skills are so important. So now you know what the foundational skills are that we suggest you take. Why are they so important?
I love a why. Let me set up the scenario that almost everyone can identify with. We start our project and it ends up never being finished because we get stuck or it's not quite what we envisioned. And then we're sad and defeated and we think we stink at sewing and creating, which is absolutely not true. It's kind of like making a new recipe and realizing that you don't know how to boil water. This actually happened to me recently, you know.
In the 20 years I have owned Smile Spinners, I have seen this so many times. People really get down on themselves and their abilities. In other hobbies, people expect to have to take lessons and to practice to become skillful, like a piano, tennis, golf. But people, when they sew, think they should just be able to whip anything up,
like there's
no
a
matter
magic wand or
how
something.
hard it is.
We encourage our creative community to gather as much knowledge as they can because having a strong foundation really allows you to be able to create so you can get to your dream project faster. And we all like that instant gratification, right?
Right. If you don't know how something goes together, you can't leave the pattern directions for a second or you will be lost.
Happens to a lot of people. Also, if you join a project-based class, you are familiar with the sewing skills being taught. Nothing's going over your head, right? You have those foundations.
At Smile Spinners, we started offering sewing skill builders about 8 years ago. These classes were taken by sewists at all levels to improve their foundational skills. Everyone, no matter what their level of expertise, came out of those classes with some new tips and tricks.
I still come out of those classes with new tips and tricks, and I teach those classes.
Not only will foundational skills help you to sew better, it will allow you to make sewing be relaxing and therapeutic. And it's a great place for an outlet for your creativity. We call it meditative sewing.
Absolutely.
Because it's just so easy to relax. If you're not thinking of your sewing as relaxing, perhaps
you need some foundation.
Should join us in taking some foundational skills.
We are on a mission to simplify sewing. So whether it's your first time or your 40th time, we have classes for all skill levels. Visit us online at smilespinners.com. Click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and leave us any questions in the comments below. See you soon.